aloha everyone. Michelle Melendez with Blossom Inner Wellness and StandTogetherHawaii.com. And if you have not joined StandTogetherHawaii.com, please do that. You just go to Stand Together Hawaii and you can click join here. It's an email list, especially if you're here on the islands. I give you guys information about what's coming down and the power we have, what we can do, the testimonials, the emails we can send. I'm here today with Ellie Cochran. She is the state representative for Lahaina, grew up in Lahaina, survived the Maui fire, and she's got a lot to share today. I do want to do a shout out quickly to the sponsor of this channel. It's aceofcoins.com. If you have any tax issues at all, tax issues, if you want to learn how to lower or eliminate your tax debt, if you want to buy Bitcoin tax-free, if you want to learn how to license your biometric data of your face, your image that's being used by big tech, please go to aceofcoins.com, ACEOFCOINS. And one quick shout out to the Voice of Kona Radio, 100.5 FM. Mahalo so much for bringing my voice to the radio. And if you're listening, mahalo for listening on the Big Island. So Ellie, thank you so much for joining me today. I know you've got a lot to share and I'm excited to get into this interview.
Good morning. Thank you for having me as always. A pleasure to be here.
Yeah, so we did a couple videos when I was visiting Lahaina on Maui on the anniversary of the fire. And one of them was millions of dollars disappeared. And we were at a Hawaiian Sacred Church. And I'd love for you just to share the story about that place and also just elaborate more about what's been going down with that area.
Well, yeah, we're on the grounds, very sacred grounds, Waiоla Church, which we celebrated 200 years of presence last year. And so it's got all of our ali'i, right? People who wrote the original constitution for the kingdom. The royal capital of the Hawaiian kingdom is just over our 200-year rock wall, and that area next door is called the island itself, where once the presence of our ali'i and the actual seat of government for the Hawaiian kingdom once stood on this island called Moku'ula. Moku'ula, this island it was surrounded by a fish pond, basically a local i'a, a fish
pond.
So
you're saying Maui was a different name at one point?
No, Maui, no, the island, like Lahaina is a town in Maui. Moku'ula is the island in Lahaina, Lele.
Oh my gosh, I never knew that.
It's an island. No, sorry, I guess you're thinking of like Maui Island, Hawaii Island,
yeah.
Lanai Island. No, I'm talking about, I think it was maybe 3.5 acres or something. Like a island in the middle of a pond.
Oh, wow.
Hi. Maybe like Hilo Bay has those little outcroppings, sort of like that, but bigger, and where people could actually live, and they had their hales on there, and our royalty and government or seat of the Hawaiian kingdom was there, like right there. You stood pretty much next door to the kingdom, where the capital once stood. So the island Moku'ula, and then around it was water. Right. Wow. It's next to the shoreline where like a fish pond. It had makahas. It had the little gates where the water, the ocean water flows in. The pond itself is spring fed, and we had free flowing streams once upon a time. So things where water was flowing all over. This pond was beautiful. It had fish and it had grasses and it had vegetation, and it was beautiful. I mean, these renderings, art renderings, you can see there were no physical photos at that time. And but there's all these art renderings which just take you back in it, and it's so wonderful. So anyways, that's next door. This is Moku'ula, and the pond is called Mokuhinia. And so back in the 30s or somewhere around, the government filled the pond. What happened was, up on the mountainsides where these 33 free-flowing streams once upon a time were happening in West Maui Mountains, the plantation came in. the plantation re-diverted all these waters, the streams, right? They built these ditch
The sugar
system,
cane?
irrigation system to water. Yeah, sugarcane. So now all our mountainsides and everything became sugarcane. And that's why the water was taken away from Mokohinia, the Loko'ia, the pond that surrounded the island called Moku'ula. So it became stagnant. It became mosquito infested. So the county back then, public works, their board of supervisors, filled it because it was, it was stagnant and mosquitoes were everywhere. So they filled it and then they created a park. They called it Malu'ulu'olele Park. Malu'ulu'olele Park was where my school, the elementary school, King Kamehameha Third School, and, we became politically correct in pronouncing Kamehameha completely, but we always known it as Camp Third. Yeah, I go to Camp Third School, Camp Third. We didn't say King Kamehameha Third. We just said Camp Third. So that was where we had recess. This is where baseball games were played. At night, adult baseball games. My mom sponsored one of the teams. This is where we had a carnival. This is where we had, there was a track there. There was football. I mean, it was a functioning park for the community. And under our feet, little unbeknownst to us, at least as far as I know, we didn't know what was under that fill. We just thought it was land that county built park, our park on. But here under our feet were this Mokohinia and Moku'ula Island. And it was then, brought to light what was there. And it was said, let's not play on top of this sacred site, stop the park usage of it, which county eventually did. And, let's bring back Moku'ula Mokohinia to its former glory, right? And there's picture renderings of the island surrounded by water and all that. So that had been, so then a group called Friends of Moku'ula, the island, Friends of Moku'ula, was formed. And technically the property is state. Well, actually, it was kingdom. So, right, kingdom got overthrown, then became the territory, then became the state. So the land is in the state hands. The state executive ordered it, EO'd it to Maui County. Maui County, that's how they made it become a county park and all this stuff. Well, so technically the land is executive ordered to the county to use as they see fit. But now that it's no longer a county park, and it came to be that, Moku'ula Mokohinia is there, the county just sort of sat on it. I mean, for decades, 20 plus years sat on it, but a group called Friends of Moku'ula had been created. And the county has a corner lot where actually part of the island is under still till today. And it became the revenue generator to get funds, which was to be used to restore Moku'ula Mokohinia. This paid parking lot, had an outside management company, whatever, doing it, but the monies received went to the county. Then the county had gave a grant to a group called Friends of Moku'ula. So they started receiving all these revenues into this nonprofit. This nonprofit obviously was supposed to go ahead and take all those funds, and it was averaging like $300,000 a year, I believe. And it was supposed to be restoring, right? Doing whatever it could to restore Moku'ula Mokohinia to its former glory concept. And 22 years later or so, when I became a council member, I'm like, what is going on here with this area? Because I knew the history, about it. And I'm like, I don't see anything being done yet. This group is taking all this money from the parking lot. Where is it going? And so then figured out that they created a for-profit arm. They created, they had this thing called Maui Walking Tour, which is good. I mean, it's a historical walk through Lahaina, the historic town. It points out all the different historical places. It ends at Moku'ula Mokohinia, which is just a big lot, basically overgrown now with invasives and whatever. But then they sort of kept it down a little. They built a little ahu thing, which isn't original, and really those kind of things should not be built upon this site anyways. and, tell the story, give us money, help us rebuild this. Well, that went on for decades. And yet you saw,
Yeah.
you can't even see it. It was so overgrown. You couldn't even tell what I'm describing to you
Yeah.
because it has not been maintained.
Yeah. If
Where
you
did
guys
all
want to
that
see
money
it,
go?
check
Where
the
did,
video before this. I'm going to put this right up after that one. And
okay,
that video, yeah, check the
like
one with the
where,
church.
yeah, I mean, I'll send you footage. Like, who has
Okay,
been
good.
caretaking this place? And again, that's what I'm talking about. Millions of dollars taken. So I become a council member. I'm like, hey, what's going on here? Why isn't it being restored? Where's all that money from the parking lot? It took literally years. I just kept asking and harping and trying to get this nonprofit and their board of directors to the table. I mean, it came to certain days where I had the mayor at the table. Literally, we're at the 9th floor at the county building, mayor's office, waiting for this board of directors to show up for this already planned meeting at the table waiting. And then they call 15 minutes later after we're waiting going, oh, we can't make it today. Wait, what? We're here. Where are you? No, we can't make it today. Something came up. Like, you could have told us. And that's the kind of action that was happening, like totally just disregarding. And eventually their lease for the land, because they're supposed to maintain and all this stuff, was expiring. And I told the county, I said, we don't renew this lease. We do not renew it to this group. We keep it, take it back. We take back the parking lot, everything. And we create a fund because the parking lot was still functioning. People are parking, putting money into the, their slots or whatever. And that money goes into the special fund, which was created with myself and another council member back then, Don Guzman. And we did a Hawaiian Cultural Restoration Fund. This fund is where the money goes in, and the sole purpose and use of the money in this fund is to only restore Moku'ula Mokuhinia. It was not to be used for any other way or means or for anything else. So last I checked, and it's been a while, when I can get an answer out of the administration, this county, the fund was still intact. And there was a couple million, but if I add up the years and the months and the average that parking lot was taken in, there really should be more than that. So again, the question is still there. How much money? Where's the money? If it's been used, how has it been used? Because it sure as heck hasn't been used in what it's made for, which is restoration, of the area, because it sits just as it's desecration. It's like, it's disrespectful. I can't even find the words for me. Yeah. One of the most sacred spots in our state, in our Pai'aina, in our islands, but in this world, I feel this is the seat of our Hawaiian, the capital of the Hawaiian kingdom, right? So then commerce and things built up in Honolulu, right? So Kauikeaole then, who was the monarchy, Kamehameha III, moved everything. He moved off Moku'ula and went over to Honolulu. And that's why then the capital, of the kingdom ended up there. And today we have the state capital there too. But, I always joked around, like, this is the original capital. The capital should be here in Lahaina, and I don't have to fly back and forth. But it's, again, such a special place. And yeah, millions of dollars. So I told the county back then, I said, hey, I appreciate we got the property back. We got the funding mechanism back in our hands. Not that I trust the county all the time back then and still, but, at least it was in our hands for oversight. And then I said, but what about all the money that's gone? Like, up in the air, gone into thin air, and yet nothing to show for. What about that? We need to get on this nonprofit who took that money and spent it somehow.
Yes.
I don't know where and how. And what about this for-profit arm? That's not what that money was supposed to be for. A for-profit company for them? No. So they benefited, but the land and our sacred site did not till today. So that's why it's not over. The questions still stand. And I don't see anybody in this county or anywhere looking at it. These people should be paying it back somehow. Yes. But here's the thing too. Listen to this. So 2 of the executive directors for this nonprofit called Friends of Moku'ula have passed. The main people who were running these organizations, taking the money with nothing to show for, are no longer here on earth with us. A third group, because so the name, the organization stayed the same, Friends of Moku'ula, but the executive directors changed, right? The board members changed. The entities within changed, but the name and the function, of this group stayed the same, which was to care for Moku'ula Mokuhinia. And I just feel like, anybody who touches this land, who even thinks about doing something with it, really needs to be pono. I mean, deep down, very authentic, very genuine, and really mean it, and have that, just the deepest respect for what is there, what once was there. And I'm just not seeing it. Whatever entities claim to be, the kia'i and whatever of it. It's like, really? Are you? Why does it look like that then?
Yeah.
But again, you were at the graveyard where our caretake, and the people that were once interred on that island, Bernice Pauahi Bishop, Princess Bernice Pauahi Bishop, Kamehameha schools and everything, they reinterred the Ali, her ancestors, to our grounds, to Waine'e graveyard, because she knew Koikeoli left. It just was not the capital anymore, but the bodies were there, her family were there, and she brought it to a safer place, into the graveyard itself. So that's why they're there, and why we are very connected to the island. And, our Hawaiian people never really remove everybody from a site. They leave people behind as the kia'i for the area. So when you look at these maps, and there's a great book called Moku'ula, and it's written by Christian Paul Klieger. He's now passed on, but he was the archaeologist, and he wrote a whole book about it, and it talks all about the history and the digs that had occurred and everything that was found and what have you. So it's very informative, but it shows 12 anomalies, like perfect squares, 6, like side by side, 6 squares lined up, and no one really knows what those are.
Wait, no, this is where again?
Best guess, it's there at in the pond at Moku'ula, at Mokuhinia. It's there. Okay. It's in the book. I mean, there's like a mapping of the different archaeological sites and digs, and the GPRs that have occurred that shows what's underneath.
So it's under the fill. It's under what's filled on top.
Yeah, it's under what's filled on top. And so, best guess is those are still burials. No one's dug down and seen what those are, but they're perfectly lined up squares, like probably are burials, I would think, because we know there's 2 piers, because there's a pond. So our elite got in canoes, paddled across the pond to go, to our church. As I mentioned, the back wall has stairs, and so they found the remnants of the pier there by the stairs. There's a pier, also, where just off where the island sits too. So these things are still there. Like I said, it's great that it got filled in the sense that things are protected, still underground and protected. And water is there. When we dig down into our graveyard alone, you dig down 6 feet, whatever, you're hitting water. Water's underneath there. That 505 Front Street shops that once were there, and there was this underground parking lot. We always said, why are you going underground? That's like below sea level, number 1. And 2, there's water flowing. So there was a 24/7 pump that constantly pumped water out of that garage. Wow. So obviously when the fire came and everything burned down, the pumps are burned, so no more pumping. So the garage filled up with water. So that's just partly, the seawater that they dug into, and also underneath we do still have water flowing. There was always this flow of this water coming out between the big hotel down there. The big white building is Lahaina Shores, and then right next door where they have the luau feast at Lele off the beach. Right in between that was always this water trickling out, fresh water just trickling into the ocean right there. Wow. So that whole area was a pond. where the hotel is and where the shops were ponds, and they just built on it. And you met Tama, and his family owned all that. Kupuna Shaw, who lived there where these ponds are that got covered over with a hotel and everything, she lived there. And now she's interred at Wainae Graveyard. And I'm the one who puts the fresh lays on her big black marble obelisk that's there with the gold lettering. And on it says she is Alice Ka'ai Shaw. And it says Lady in Waiting for Queen Lili'u Okalani and Kahu from Mokohinia, because she took that area. That was where she lived.
Oh my God.
And so
that's
it's like
amazing.
All these people, like Friends of Moku'ula, whoever that are talking about taking this place over and redoing this. But it's like, I have not seen you come to pay respects to the people of that area. And they're still there as far as I'm concerned. And they're some of the first people that anyone needs to be communing and listening to. And so that's why I feel like if you're not in it to really, keep our past and history of the area alive and infused in whatever decision you're doing for the area, I'm sorry, but I've seen literally not good things happen to people.
Yeah.
And again, the fire did not touch our graveyard, did not touch any of our li'i. And that's just amazing. And I'm grateful, but I really believe it's the entities that are there still today that really are alive. And, Tom, I had a dream, and the dream was that everybody in that graveyard was walking around, like just their heads down. And I go, well, what were they? Were they talking? What did they look like? What were they doing? He goes, they were like walking around looking, going, what happened? They were like in disbelief, like, and I'm talking, Queen Keopolani and Ho'olulu, who's the war advisor to King Kamehameha, Governor Ho'opili, and they're out walking around and just with their heads down and like with sadness and disbelief and just confusion, like what just happened kind of thought. And I was like, wow, and that's like kind of an incredible vision to have to see. So yeah, anyways, fast forward now, supposedly there's been a planning, and this has been going on for months now, unbeknownst to me, the area representative, and obviously my connection with the graveyard and all this stuff in the county, and knowing the past history of Moku'ula Mokuhinia, or Malu'ulu Olele Park. And with Congress, in discussion currently about creating a World Heritage Site or a UNESCO site or something. It's like, what does that mean for us? What does that mean for this parcel, our town, or anything? I don't know. I would think this would be brought to the bigger table of the entire community in the discussion. And let me back up. When I was on the council and we did, took back the lease and took back the funding from the parking lot and all that, we started having community meetings to talk about what's the future for this place. Here we are, the county, it's in our hands. What would you like to see, community? And we started having meetings. We had cultural inventory surveys. We had environmental assessments. These meetings were going on. We protected it with fencing because people were riding dirt bikes across it. Homeless were, no fault of their own. They have nowhere else to live. But, homeless camps and things were occurring. So we had to stop it. We gated it off or fenced it in. So that was $40,000. Use some of the money for that. That's part of, the area, trying to protect it and secure it. So that was proper use. But, nothing really came about after that, because now that mayor, Arakawa, was open to talking about what do we do with the parcel. Then a new mayor comes to town. Then nothing happens from there. And then another mayor, so I'm now with 3 mayors later, and still the property looks like that.
Yeah, it's all overgrown, everyone. And if you can see it in the next video, but if you send me some videos, I'll edit them in so people can see where this is at. And one thing, so this is it sounds just absolutely beautiful. I never knew there was an island in the island in the middle of the island. That's incredible. And Lahaina was very special because it was the capital of the Hawaii Kingdom. Can you say a little bit more about that? Because a lot of people don't realize how really important Lahaina is to the Hawaii Islands.
Yeah. I mean, where the first constitution was written, and those people are interred at the graveyard. I mean, think about, the seminary, Lahaina Luna High School, the oldest school west of the Rockies. Think about that. Lahaina Luna is the oldest school west of the Rockies. We here in Lahaina had schools educating our people before, the big ones on the West Coast in California or wherever. And so, and they're saying even west of the Mississippi is what they're branching it out to supposedly. And, it was just it was feeding everybody. Our town had the free flowing streams, and it had lo'ikalo, and obviously our elite, the monarchy of the day, would not pick a place that wasn't a pleasant place to be, right? I mean, this was their seat of government. This is where they lived, where they walked the grounds. And, I think that, as you know, Lahaina and the beachfront there, and it's protected by other islands. The weather, it's hotter now, but the weather is very, it's pretty perfect all year round. And this is where they wrote the Constitution. This is where the seat of government, as you can picture what that is, once was. And a very, very sacred, special place, Yep. And where Princess Nahiana lived, and it's just Queen Keopuolani was the first baptized, Christian baptized Hawaiian. And she, back in the day, her, Ho'olulu and Ho'opili, Governor Ho'opili, Chief Ho'olulu, who was the war advisor to King Kamehameha, who both are at the graveyard, well, three are the ones who buried King Kamehameha's iwi. Those three are the ones who know where they put King Kamehameha. And it's like, wow, obviously they took that to the grave. So Queen Keopuolani broke the kapu system, right? Men and women couldn't eat together. Her and Ka'ahumanu, were very strong leaders and broke the kapu system. And so she was one of the first to be buried, openly. Like, we know where she is. We know where her iwi is.
Can you say a little bit more about that for people who don't understand what an iwi is?
Iwi is bones. It's the bones of a person, where Hawaiians really believe that's where the essence and the mana, or the power of a person, is within the bone of the iwi. Is a very, very sacred thing of a person. So the protection of that, you don't want it. They didn't want it, your iwi, to be in the wrong hands of your enemy or whatever. These are the days of war, when King Kamehameha is trying to unify the islands. It wasn't done by, hey, shake hands and cool, can I have your island? Can I take your village? No, there was war, there was blood, there was, it was not a happy time. A lot of violence and death and everything else. So Queen Keopuolani was the first baptized Hawaiian and buried in the open, meaning people know where she is, versus her, Ho'olulu and Ho'opili, hid the iwi, the bones of King Kamehameha, right? That was the old style of burials.
And because in Captain Cook, there's like, the burials also usually, if tell me if this is right, the person who would bury the bones would actually commit suicide so that they couldn't tell people where the bones were buried. That's what I've been told in Captain Cook area, South Dakota.
I don't know. Maybe, but then, Queen Keopuolani, Ho'olulu, and Ho'opili lived after they took King Kamehameha bones wherever they took the bones. So they didn't kill themselves. So I know that for a fact. But otherwise, yeah, it may have happened with others. I'm not really sure. Could be during times of war, when they just would not have it. Like, you cannot be threatened and tortured to say where those bones are. But anyhow, so that's, I think, so what's so important, yes, about our graveyard, but just the whole history in itself,
It's
of the
huge.
area. And you got to think about the Ahupua'a system, right? The land division, what was once then at that time, right? It went from the mountains, the top of the mountains, where Lahaina Luna is and everything, all the way down to the sea, where 505 shops was, where Moku'ula Mokuhinia and Waiole Church is. You got to look at that as one landmass connected to each other versus now when the county came in, they just cut things up into tax map keys,
Yeah,
right?
that's right.
So now it's like how you got to think back though at that time, it was all connected.
Yeah.
The island, the ponds, the lands above it. But
And I want to just
today
tell
it's
people
all
about
chopped up.
the word Apwa'a, that is they were taking care. There's like each section of the area had their kuleana, had their responsibility of what to do to care for everybody on that Apwa'a. It was all of the farmers working together in their area to support the community. That is just so beautiful, and that is what that means. If you want to share anything more about that.
Well, I mean, yeah, so you had Okonahiki, right? The main what project manager or farm manager, and they took care of this swath of land, this ahupua'a. So up in the mountains, right? This is where you can go and gather, right? Gather flora, fauna, hunt. And then you have the free flowing streams that fed everything all the way down the line of that flowing stream, the Lo'ikalo, right? And then it flows out, it fed the ponds, the fish ponds, right? Where fish were raised. And then it went to sea where, the seeds and the fruits flowed through the stream. That's not trash. That's actually food. That's nutrients that fed things all along the stream that got, dispersed into the Lo'ikalo. Then it ends up into the ocean that feeds our limu, our seaweed to grow. It fed the fish, for them to grow healthy. And then you can fish and harvest and eat the fish. So a fisherman could trade with someone up in the mountains who, grew the fruits and who hunted, the pig and whatever. So it was this communal, holistic connection with each other. No one took more than they needed.
Yeah,
Everyone
that's right.
shared, right? So you're not going to only eat all the fish you catch. You're going to share with the mountain, the makainana who are toiling in the land.
Mm-hmm.
And then the people on the land are going to share with the people who are out in the ocean, fishing and doing those things. So it was just a wonderful, just symbiotic, take care of each other. And that concept, we can bring it forward into today's world.
Yeah,
Why can we not? And it's like one of the things where, to me, if you just keep it as simple as it can get, because that's what our lifestyle was, but bring it into the modern day, today's world, it's still doable, but it won't look just like what it was,
never
guys
again.
running around in Mahalo, maybe, hey, but we can. And I've always said it, self-sufficiency. We are the remotest landmass in the world. The islands are the remotest landmass in the world. We didn't have things shipping in to take care of us. We took care of ourselves. And also all those ships that were traveling the globe and searching out for new frontiers stopped here for replenishment, for water, food, and sustenance. They came here and got it from us. That wasn't the other way around. Now it's turned around where we're dependent on the outside world. Why? We have everything right here in our islands, always have. And all the makings, right? Very fertile lands to feed ourselves. We have, look at the oceans, our waters, and energy. I mean, oh my God, sun, merciless sun. Lahaina means merciless sun. So much solar energy, so much, right? If we have these free flowing streams again, hydro, you have geothermal, right? We need to, make sure we do it very, properly. And we also have potential geothermal on this island because Haleakala is just sleeping. Haleakala is not dead. It's just dormant for now. So it can wake up at any time. She is just sleeping right now. So there's activity here on Maui too for geothermal. Waves, Peahi, Jaws, wave energy. Oh my God, so much wave energy everywhere. This is like wind. Ho'okipa's the windsurfing capital of the world. We have
That's right.
wind.
Yep.
You know, I don't
I know.
want
I
winds
was
like
there.
we
I was
did on
like,
August
what?
8th.
You guys are,
I
yeah.
mean, wind. We are known for our wind. We are known for so many things that can contribute to us becoming that world, the role model for the rest of this world for renewable energy, right? To tap into what we have here. And again, everyone talks about it all day long. We have this goal to become self-sufficient. We're not even, we haven't moved the needle on that. But every elected official will talk about it every day in their campaigns, all the time. I'm on the Energy Environmental Management Committee. Like, woo, let's get solar on state buildings. Really, that's the biggest thing we can do right now. I mean, it's just crazy that the political will is just not there. Or the political will is bought, is how I look at it.
You are
And
correct.
I swear, it's
Unfortunately,
just
that is
crazy.
true.
It's crazy. And I feel like in that sense, most of them are just puppets and others are pulling their strings. And it's sad because it is profits over people every day, every decision made. And I try to, you know, I just try to bring this voice that I'm saying there, and I'm just the minority. But this election season has changed some people. I mean, some people are not returning, so I'm thinking there is a little bit of hope in things changing and the status quo being sort of shaken up a little bit. So I just one vote, one person at a time is how we're gonna do it. And I think, it's going to start with, like maybe this whole thing with the Moku'ula Mokuhinia and the restoration, it's bringing back maybe, that true essence, the heart of our politics here that once was, and it was about the people, all of it.
That's right.
It's about taking care of the people. And I'm not talking about outside investors. And that's the part I'm really scared about with this whole fire. And people not around to apply. People are just priced out of paradise. Yes, priced out of their own home, priced out of their own history and their genealogy and their generational actual rooted home. And that's the saddest thought, because I just talked to a girlfriend who's doing permitting. And she's like, Ellie, I don't understand why there's not more people applying for permits, residential, not the big stuff, but the small, mom and dad home here.
Your home.
Yeah. Like, I don't know where they are. And supposedly an insurance agent said all the insurances have been paid out. And so the insurance money, supposedly you can just, my girlfriend thinks that the people that have taken the money, they've been waiting as long as they could to see if they're going to rebuild. Where's the permits? Where's anything? We talked about that already. It's not coming. It's not forthcoming. They just taking the money and going. If you're from the Philippines, you take hundreds of thousands of dollars back to the Philippines, you're set for generations. I mean, living like kings and queens with this kind of money. You go back to Midwest, wherever, anywhere else but Hawaii, you can live a lot more, with less struggle wherever, if you're living outside of this state. And that is not how it's supposed to be here. No. It's not. But yet it is. And again, it goes to the political will. It goes to all this. And we need to change that. We need to see the change. And thank you for posting that video talking about the bypass, because lo and behold, that very day, yesterday you posted it, within hours, my office got a letter back from Department of Transportation, Ed Sniffen. But of course, the letter didn't answer my questions. But I got a response. So obviously something hit a nerve with that or whatever. It put pressure on the office to actually respond back to me, because they didn't in over a month. But curious. A video comes out, me talking about, and boom, there's a letter to my office. So it makes a difference.
Yes, it does. Yes, it does. You guys,
so
she's talking about
everybody.
Everybody who called in or emailed in. I also sent it to the list on standtogetherhawaii.com. So if you did do a phone call, and this was about having Ed Sniffen, who is the Hawaii Transportation Director, put the extension of the Lahaina bypass going north on the STIP. and the STIP is the State Transportation Improvement Plan. So you guys, if you did a phone call, that is fantastic. If you want to see that video, just go to videos. It's one of the last, I think it was the last one I just did, so it's right after this one. But check it out. You can even call. It doesn't hurt to just do another phone call or another email. And again, join standtogetherhawaii.com, because I do send out actions. I love actions. We are way more powerful than we think. A lot of times people just think, oh, I can't do anything. That's not true. It's not true. That's why we're here. You know, I had a girlfriend of mine, because sometimes my heart gets saddened, and I'm like, is this, you know, is this going to work? Is this going to work? And my friend told me, Michelle, we wouldn't be here if we didn't weren't going to make a difference. And that's what I feel. It's like whatever your heart inspires you to do, in spirit inspires you to do it. Because, you know, Ellie, she ran for the state representative for Lahaina. She got in, and she's making a difference. Even if it's hard, Ellie, I just know you are. Your voice, and oh, something happened. She got cut off. But her voice is massive, and I know that it's touching other people in office. So I'm going to do a quick prayer for her. So it looks like she got cut off, and maybe she'll be coming back in. But let's do a prayer, everybody, because there's an infinite intelligence that's growing the trees behind me and running all of our hearts together. And Allie, great. I was just going to do a quick prayer for us all. And I just wanted to say again, your voice makes a difference. You may not feel like it does sometimes because you're up against so much, but I'm telling you, I know that even though these people, and I totally agree with you, them being bought off, there's got to be some type of something inside of them that goes, this isn't right. And at some point, people have either got to turn around, or they're going to be peaceably removed from office, or they voluntarily step down because they're not for the people. They're not for the aloha that's here. And there is a law, you guys. There is an aloha spirit law that actually is, people. It actually is a law where you have to be nice, and you have to be kind, and you have to do what's right for the people. And maybe even you can even bring that up to some people, Ellie. You know, you're breaking the aloha spirit law. You know, a little reminder there.
Yeah.
So awesome.
Great.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything last things you want to share, and then we'll do a quick prayer?
No, again, yeah, the whole bypass thing isn't over. This is just the start, but your voices really does matter. And Lahaina will continue to need that support. And this is, yes, to help us. No, doesn't take money. It doesn't take, hard work and energy here. It's just a phone call, a written letter, an email of some sort, just to share the support for us here in Lahaina. And that's probably one of the biggest things anyone can do around the world to give back and to help us move forward and to help save lives for the future.
Yes, and let me just look up that number for people who are watching right now, because you can do it right now. You can call in. It's Ed Sniffen, and let me find his phone number if I can really quick. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'll just pause the record. We go.
Okay.
Okay, you guys, so the phone number is 808-587-2150, 808-587-2150. So please call that number. That's Ed Sniffen's number. He is the Hawaii State Transportation Director. Tell him, all you have to do is, what do they have to tell them? Tell him?
Just say that you support the build-out of the Lahaina bypass heading north. And no, don't need the details. I mean, you don't need it. Just those simple words. He knows exactly what you're talking about.
Yep.
He knows.
You can even just say, please put the Lahaina bypass on the STIP. The STIP is the State Transportation Improvement Plan, and that's it. That's all you got to do. In fact, that's all I did when I called in. It was 808-587-2150. 808-507-2150, and just say, that's all I did. I said, I want to leave a message for Ed Sniffen, and all it is tell him to please put the extension of the Lahaina bypass on the STIP, and that's all I said. And she said, okay, thank you. And I said, all right, aloha. And that was my call. It was less than 30 seconds long.
I wonder how many went through, because right away, man, I was like, oh, I got a letter from Ed after over a month now, and this video just came out. Made a difference. Thank you
Well, I
so
did,
much.
and I did send it to the email list that I have, which is almost 4,000 people. So,
Wow.
well,
Awesome. Thank you.
that would help. So mahalo, you guys.
Awesome.
Okay, you guys, let's
Yeah.
pray.
All right.
Great Spirit, infinite intelligence of all things, you are beating our hearts and you're breathing our bodies and you're running the tides in the ocean and you're moving the sun and you're guiding the honeybees to their next flower.
Mhm.
You know the vision of this world is free, is peaceful, that all people are living in safety and doing what they love to do, and that love is so much stronger than fear. We just know that, Great Spirit, and we pull that in right now. The love that we have for each other, for our ohana, the love that we have for the Aina, for the land, and for these islands, and wherever you're at on the planet, the love that you have for your family and for your particular place on earth. This world is so beautiful. There is so much beauty here. And we call that in right now, Great Spirit. And we just know that there is so much light on Lahaina right now, that the truth is unfolding so easily, that people who do not honor the sacredness of the land there are peaceably removed from office, or they voluntarily step down, or their heart is turned toward love and toward the love that we have for not just each other, but the sacredness that is Hawaii. Hawaii, the land of aloha, the land of heart, the land of so much inner strength, Great Spirit. And we know that for ourselves in this time, that we are doing things that allow us to flourish. We are planting more food and we are supporting each other. And if there's anything that is hard on your heart, that we're forgiving ourselves and forgiving each other so that love can be stronger right here and right now at this time in history. And we call that forth now, Great Spirit. And we send Ellie so much mahalo, so much appreciation for her journey and her inner strength and her voice, that she just keeps going forward, that she's not alone and that she does feel heard. She's in it to win it, and we know that she's here for the people, Great Spirit, and we just give her higher self so much gratitude for coming in at this time in history, because I know it hasn't been easy, but she's not alone, Great Spirit. We know that angels and guides are always with her every single moment of every single day, and we send her so much mahalo and so much aloha, and so it is. Mahalo,
Mhm.
Ellie. So much
Hey,
appreciation
thank you
for
so
you.
much. Yeah, and here too. So thank you for all you do for us.
Awesome. All
Take
right. Aloha,
care.
everyone.
Aloha.